Playing the volume game with job applications is not going to work out well for you. The tech job market is really competitive right now, and whether you're going for a PM job, an engineering job, or a design job, there are a lot of people out there in the same boat. In this video, I'm going to deep dive into 5 different ways that you can get ahead of 99% of other candidates in the market. To be blunt, the things I'll share in this video are going to be a lot more work than just tweaking your resume or doing some basic networking here and there. These are ideas that will require hard work, creativity, and consistency to pay off, but doing so will significantly increase your chances at landing interviews and ultimately an offer. If you're new here, my name is Anthony Saltarelli, and I'm a senior product manager based out of New York City. I've made several videos on my channel about how to stand out in the job market, but this video will specifically focus on how you can get ahead of almost everyone else that you are competing against. So not just standing out, but being the #1 candidate a company is interested in interviewing and giving an offer to. So let's dive right in. Number 1 is that you should try and network with 1 to 3 different people in the industry every single day. An absolutely crazy statistic, but an important one to know, is that 85% of job offers are given to people who were referred by an internal employee. That means that almost 9 out of 10 offers that are being handed out are to people who knew someone inside of a company. Now, how do you get a referral? Well, it all comes down to knowing people. You need to directly know someone inside the company, or you need to get in touch with them in some way. It's not reasonable for someone to just naturally know someone at every single company out there on the planet, so this will take some work. So there's a few layers to this. You may have an existing direct connection with someone in the company you want to apply to. This is considered a first connection on LinkedIn. Maybe you worked with them in the past, maybe they were from your high school, undergrad, or grad school, maybe they are a friend or a friend of a friend that you've met and you've connected with. This is the absolute best case scenario because you've already built up a reputation with this person. They'll trust you because they personally know you. The next layer is a mutual connection. This is considered a second connection on LinkedIn. This is a scenario where you are directly connected to someone who is connected to the person at the company who you want a referral from. In an ideal world, the mutual connection is someone that you're close with who can actually give you a warm introduction. This person trusts you and knows you, so they'll speak highly of you when they connect the two of you together. The last layer is being a third connection or someone who is completely outside of your network. In this case, you'll be cold outreaching the person at the company. When this is the case, you have to do everything possible in your power to stand out and get a response from them. This means building out an amazing portfolio and sending it to them. This means customizing your message to fit their background and really stand out from their perspective. So your goal with networking with 1 to 3 people per day, which means having a 15 to 30-minute conversation with a few people every single day, is to build out your first level connections. You not only want to be connected with them on LinkedIn, but you want to have spoken with them directly so that they actually trust you and care about you. Just simply connecting with someone on LinkedIn won't really do anything because you are still kind of random to them. It's not until you actually connect and chat back and forth with your voice that it becomes something. And I want to mention that when you get on the networking call with this person, you need to actually impress them. You need to ask really intelligent questions that are specific to the person that you're talking to and their company. You want to leave them thinking, wow, this person really knows what they're talking about. They're definitely legit. So how do you find these people to network with every single day? Well, you can start with your existing network. Reach out to folks that you're comfortable with in the tech industry and ask them if they know anyone who could be helpful to talk to you as you consider a new role. You can also leverage your college alumni networks. People are willing to chat with you simply because you went to the same college, so you should really leverage this. Another great alumni network is the alumni of a particular company that you worked at in the past. You can also cold outreach to people in the industry to just build out your network in general, but make sure to do things to stand out to them. At the end of all of your calls with these people, ask them if they have 1 or 2 other people that they'd recommend you chat with to learn more about the industry or the role. And if they say that they'll think about it, definitely follow up with them after. Now, I will say, scheduling a few calls per day is quite challenging and time consuming, but I never said that this was easy. If you want to get ahead of 99% of candidates, you'll have to do what the other 99% are not willing to do. You not only have to be good about building your network out, but you you also have to be good at leveraging it. Just because you have a first connection and second connection doesn't mean that you're automatically going to get a referral. You have to actually facilitate these conversations with people in your network to get the referral. You have to follow up with people because they're naturally forgetful and they have a lot going on. You have to make sure your materials are perfect before you engage with them so you don't waste your time with them. For example, your resume should be the absolute best version that it can be before you send it to a contact for a referral. It should be looked over by someone else so that you can have an extra pair of eyes on it. It should be perfect formatting and have powerful content. There should be absolutely no typos or grammar mistakes in your resume. If you need to, quadruple check your resume before sending it over. Your goal is to get a referral from this person, so you should do everything in your power to ensure you get the referral. And don't be afraid to put yourself out there. I see time and time again, people feel awkward and they don't want to impose. They're ultimately afraid of rejection, but this is the tax that you have to pay to get a referral. To recap, you should focus on scheduling 1 to 3 networking calls every day. If you can do this, your network will exponentially increase because of all the first and second level connections you're going to get. Your ultimate goal with this tip is to get an employee referral because almost all job offers that are given are to people who were referred internally. Number 2 is to actually build a functioning product. This is applicable for product managers, product designers, and of course, software engineers. Building a product gives you a tremendous amount of experience within the world of software development. You could read literally 1,000 books on how to build out and launch a product, but it's not until you actually do it yourself that you truly learn the ropes and understand it. You'll learn how to work through challenges. You'll learn how to leverage data to make different decisions for your product. You'll be forced to work through things that you wouldn't have even thought of just from reading books or watching YouTube videos by simply building your product yourself. I'll break down how I recommend actually going about building a product, but I first wanted to mention that the reason you build a product is to then be able to talk about it during the application and interview process. You will automatically seem better than another candidate if you've actually gone through the process of building a functioning product that has some level of impact on the world. It shows that you're truly passionate about this space, that you have the skill set, that you have the drive and grit, and you're willing to do what it takes to make an impact. Okay, so how do you go about building a functioning product? First, you need to start with a problem. All products that are successful solve some type of problem out there in the world. If it's a platform like Airbnb, the problem is that people want to travel and can't find an affordable place to stay. If it's Google Maps, the problem is that people need to find a place and then need directions to get to that place. The product that you come up with should solve some type of problem that exists out there in the world. There is no shortage of problems. Now, there are probably already solutions to a lot of the problems that you may see, but that shouldn't discourage you from actually focusing on that problem. You could solve that problem in a different way or a better way. Find a problem by talking to different types of people, reaching out to friends, etc. Make sure the problem that you focus on is actually a big problem that isn't being solved in an adequate way right now. So you have a problem. What's next? You should then start to brainstorm potential solutions to that problem. There are a number of ways that you could solve any type of problem. For example, if the problem is, I don't know where to eat tonight, one solution could be a website that simply lists out every single restaurant sorted by distance from where you live. Another solution could be a chatbot that asks you different questions like how far do you want to travel, what cuisines are you in the mood for, and how much do you want to spend tonight. Then the chatbot would generate a short list of places it recommends based on what you said. These are two very different ways to solve the same problem. They have the same outcome, they're just getting there a different way. So figure out which potential solutions you believe best solve the problem and then get some feedback from your target users. Mock up the solutions in Figma and put them in front of users. See which ones are confusing, which ones people are drawn to, etc. Ultimately, you will land on a solution that you believe has the strongest chance at success. Now, you need to build an MVP of that solution. If you're an engineer, you can go ahead and actually code an end-to-end version of this solution. If you're a designer or product manager, you can use no-code tools like bubble.io to actually build out your MVP. These no-code platforms are very powerful, and there's a ton of help all over the internet for how to leverage them. One important piece of your MVP is integrating analytics into it. You need to understand how your users are using the product itself. Work on your MVP and then launch it to your target users. One common saying is that if you're not embarrassed to launch your product, you've probably launched it too late. So now that you're launched, try and get users. See what your metrics show you about how users are using the product. You'll start to learn what is working and not working within your user base. Throughout this entire process, you've essentially leveraged all the skill sets that are required to be successful within the world of software development. You've designed a product product from the ground up, you've talked to users to find out what will be most impactful, and you've actually built and launched functioning software. Now that you've gone through this entire process, you should share it with the world. Post on LinkedIn about it, add it to your resume, add it to your product portfolio, talk about it when you network with people and in the interviews. People are going to be very impressed that you went to this length to flex your software development skill set. Going through this process will take time, and it is definitely a lot of hard work, but it'll put you ahead of 99% of other candidates out there on the market. By the way, if you stayed this far, I really appreciate you watching. If you could take a moment to just like the video, it really helps my channel grow. And if you're interested in seeing more content about this, definitely subscribe and turn on post notifications. Now on to the third way to get ahead of 99% of candidates. What you can do is create case studies that are specific to the companies that you're applying to. And then you can include those case studies when you network with folks at the company and when you're applying. So what is a case study and why are they valuable to create? Well, a case study is a detailed analysis and examination of a problem. It's essentially a trimmed down version of the entire product development process. It involves conducting research, gathering data, refining a problem, and then ultimately proposing solutions to that problem. They're really valuable because they showcase your ability in a visual way to analyze and solve real-world problems. And if you make one in the context of a specific company, you're going to definitely wow the people at that company. So how can you do a case study that is specific to a company you're applying to? Well, the first part is finding a problem that exists for the company or their users. Let's take a company called Alma as an example. Alma is a web-based learning management system that gives educators control over student and parent access to course materials, grading, attendance, and more. One problem that users write about is that they lack a GPA-based grade calculation feature. This is a great, specific problem that exists for their users, and you could totally do a case study about it. The first part would be doing research on the problem itself. Why do educators want this GPA-based calculation? What are these calculations even used for? How can they actually be created? What are the different permutations of GPAs out there? There's GPAs out of 4, there are GPAs out of 100. Sometimes GPAs can go above 4 and above 100. Do research on the space itself to better inform your solution. Next would be defining a goal/hypothesis for your problem. Something like, if we give educators a way to calculate GPAs for their students, we will increase our educator net promoter score. Next would be coming up with an MVP solution and laying out the roadmap. First, we could start with a basic 4.0 GPA calculation based on standard grade ranges. An A could be a 4.0, an A- could be a 3.7, a B+ could be a 3.3, etc. The system would automatically calculate a GPA based on these standard values for the ranges multiplied by their credits. Future iteration of this feature could be schools modifying those standard ranges based on how they calculate GPAs. For example, they may have a 3.4 for a B+, or they may say an A- is actually a 90 to 93 instead of a 90 to 92. Another future iteration could be expanding GPA calculation to be on a 100-point scale instead of just a 4-point scale. Another future iteration could be adding support for weighted grading. For example, if a school offers an AP or advanced placement course, an A might be worth 5 points instead of 4. Within your case study, explain why you landed on the MVP solution, and then think through the roadmap for how to improve the feature over time to expand to more use cases and more users. Do a lightweight prioritization using the RICE framework. You can do all of this over a few days if you spend a few hours every day. Then put it on your portfolio and start to network with it with the people at that company. Send it to PMs, recruiters, hiring managers, engineers, designers, etc. Because it is specific to the company that you applied to or are interested in, the chances 1 or 2 people open your message and respond are significantly higher. And because you went through the entire process of solving a real problem for the company, you've shown them that you have the skill set to be an effective product manager, engineer, or designer if you were to join that company. I can tell you that 99% of candidates are not doing this, and so if you do it, you'll definitely get ahead. And you have the added bonus of then being able to send this case study around to other related companies. For example, you could send this case study about Alma to a bunch of other education technology companies out there, and it'll help you with those as well. Next up is the fourth way to get ahead of 99% of other candidates out there. This one is learning the skill set of others on your team. Whenever I interview software engineers, those who can speak intelligently about product considerations and business impact are always a cut above the rest. When PMs deeply understand technology and can speak intelligently about the software development process, they instantly are more attractive than candidates who make mistakes and refer to things incorrectly. So within this tip, there are several skills I recommend you learn based on the role role that you are going for. If you're a software engineer, you could learn and refine your user experience skill set. Instead of just working on tickets that you're assigned on a bi-weekly basis, you could seek to learn why certain decisions are made about the product and the experience. You could also improve your data analysis and visualization skill set. Think about what data should be tracked to measure the performance of the feature you're working on, instead of just waiting around for a product manager or product analyst to tell you what to track. If you're going for a product manager role, you can learn coding basics on platforms like Codecademy. You can learn Figma and design best practices so you can better collaborate with designers. You can learn more about marketing to better partner with your marketing team. If you're going for a product design role, you could also learn the basics of programming. This will help you better understand certain constraints that you should be designing within and why certain design choices will be high versus low effort on the engineering side. You can learn more about business strategy and leveraging data in the decision-making process. When you're designing something, you may actually alter your designs based on data that your team has. Knowing what questions to ask your team about data can tremendously help you get ahead here. These are just small examples of the types of cross-disciplinary skills that you could learn that will put you ahead of most candidates in the market. I want to be clear that it's not required to be skilled in every single thing to get an offer in tech, but it definitely can help you out during the interview process itself because you can more intelligently and holistically answer questions. You'll take more things into account in your explanations, and interviewers will trust you because you don't have tunnel vision when you're answering questions and thinking about solving problems. The fifth and final tip I have to get ahead of 99% of candidates is to invest in a coach. A coach is basically anyone who has done what you want to do before and has experience teaching others to do the same. A coach can help with a variety of different things and is valuable for a number of different reasons. They can help you with general career strategy, like figuring out what roles you should apply to, how to stand out, how to structure your resume in a way that makes sense for your background, and more. They can review and edit your resume to ensure that the content is really powerful, clear, and concise, and that the formatting is perfect. I see time and time again that people believe their resume looks really good, but upon review, there are a lot of areas of improvement, both on the content and on the formatting side. They can also help with mock interviews for all the special types of interviews out there for PM, engineering, design roles. When you're just interviewing for a role, you aren't getting any feedback about why you aren't moving on to the next round. Coaches are the best way for you to figure out exactly what needs to improve on to be more successful. Coaches are applicable within the product management space, engineering space, and design space. Even if you think you're good at interviewing, you can always improve. Your goal should be to 10x your interviewing skill set and get to a place where you are so good at interviewing that you could actually teach and coach other people on how to do the same. Think about interviewing like any other skill out there. The more you practice, the more feedback you get, the better you'll become. And getting a coach will dramatically speed up this process for you improving. The reason that coaches are so valuable is because they've done what you are trying to do before, and they can directly tell you what you are doing right and what you are doing wrong. If I were to do a mock interview with a random friend of mine, they would probably be able to give me some type of feedback like, you should probably stop saying so much, which is somewhat helpful, but it's not until you do a mock interview with someone in the role that you're trying to get till you will receive very specific and actionable feedback on how to improve and get way, way, way better. The other reason coaches are so valuable is actually from a financial perspective. Coaches may cost around $150 to $250 an hour, and doing 6 sessions will have an insane return on investment. You could get a $150,000 offer by leveling up with a coach for as little as $900. If you found this video helpful, definitely check out more videos on my channel. I make a ton of content about product management and the tech space in general. Thanks so much for watching.